Around 7 p.m. this evening, Jeffersonville City Police Department was called to the apartment complex here on East 8th Street, reference a subject walking around with a handgun. When officers arrived, they did encounter the subject outside. The preliminary information is that he fired the weapon in the air after the officers arrived and in their presence, and then pointed the weapon towards the officers, at which time at least one officer fired and struck the subject. They immediately gave life-saving measures at that point. He was rushed to University Hospital. Don't have any information as to his status at this time, but the last information was that he was in surgery, so we're hopeful that he will obviously survive that. Don't have a lot of information. It's very early on. Nobody else was injured here. None of the officers were injured. None of the apartment complex residents were injured. The department did go around and check all the apartment complexes and verify that nobody was struck or any damage from a stray round fired by that individual. But very early on, very scary and tragic situation, but we're glad that nobody else was hurt.
Do you know where the suspect was hit?
I do not have information physically as far as exactly what happened.
Anything else? Did he live here, or do you know?
We're looking into all that information. It's still very early on, so gathering all that information will take time to get all of it. It's likely that he lived here, but I can't confirm whether he lived here at this time. A lot of people to talk to. There's going to be possible video footage to go over, officers to investigate, or excuse me, officers to interview, residents here to interview. Again, it's a large apartment complex, so a lot of people that we could potentially need to talk to tonight. A lot of information together. More information will come out over the next few days as we gather that information.
Just one officer, one shot?
At least there was approximately 5 officers, I believe, from Jeffersonville City here at the time. At least one officer fired. So we're not saying exactly now how many officers actually fired, but we know that at least one officer did fire his weapon, potentially more. But again, it's early. We want to verify things and don't just assume, how many are based on the early information. But so we can at least say that one officer did fire.
Sure. Do you know the name of this complex?
I do not, off the top of my head, unfortunately. Sorry.
Anything else you can tell me?
Just, we don't believe there's any danger to the general public here. Again, we did check the rest of the apartments. I think it's a very isolated incident. Obviously, the residents here felt, some concern. Obviously, they called a subject walking around in the parking lot. I'm not sure exactly what his actions were at that time, but it did alert the residents here to say, hey, we need to call the police. Jeffersonville was very quick to respond. No officers were injured, but more information will come out. I believe the city police department, the chief Kavanaugh, will probably have some type of a statement tomorrow, but for tonight, that's about all the information we have.
Do you all run the investigation?
We are investigating it at the request of Jeffersonville PD.
Okay.
So we're not required to. They did request us to come to the scene and investigate. So we're working with them as far as their crime scene technicians. We also have our own crime scene technicians here, but the investigation itself will be an Indiana State Police investigation.
Gotcha. Thanks so much.